visualizations using confidential corporate data for internal use by clients that don't get published online. And I know that's the way a lot of people use Visme as well. I'm really excited about today's topic. If you have participated in some of the previous Visme webinars, this one is going to be a little bit different. Our prior webinars have focused on some tips and design best practices from experts in the field, but today we're going to do a deep dive into Visme and into the recently released new features. And to share these new features, we have Visme founder Payman Tay. Before we get started, though, I want to cover a couple logistics issues for the webinar today. The webinar format will be a little more interactive, with time allowed for a couple questions about each of the new features that Payman will be demonstrating. If you have a question during the webinar, please type it into the Q&A window, and I'm going to pick a few of those out of the Q&A window to repeat to Payman over the webinar. You can click on the Q&A icon in your webinar interface to bring up that window, and then there will be an additional time at the very end for any more questions about today's webinar or any other features that were shown. So I'm going to be watching those submitted questions and then pick a few for Payman after each of the features that he's going to demo. We are recording this webinar, and the video will be made available on the Visme blog in the next few days. Make sure you check out the Visme Learning Center blog to see this video from the webinar, as well as the videos from all the other webinars we have done as well. Stay tuned. At the end of the webinar, we're going to provide a coupon code for Visme exclusive to this webinar. So if you're not a premium member, you should definitely stick with us until the end and take advantage of that code. All right, so let's dive in. Let me introduce you to the founder of Visme, Payman. Payman, take it away.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. My name is Payman, founder of Visme, and of course, I will be presenting today. I want to first thank everybody for joining. I know what it's like to be busy, and so I really appreciate you guys taking the time, about an hour of your busy schedule, to join us today, which leads me to why we even build Visme in the first place. So we're all busy and don't often have time to create professional content. It's too time-consuming and often frustrating, and Visme is helping to improve that. Today, Visme is used by organizations and individuals from all ages to create primarily presentations and infographics, but we have plans for more content categories later this year. If you followed our journey over the last couple of years, you've noticed that Visme has evolved into a stronger content creation platform with a few upgrades and releases along the way, but our system needed a major revamp to both set the tone for better user experience, support our growth, and also help to improve our development process so we can bring new cool features faster than ever before. So it's been a busy 8 months here at Visme, where behind the scenes we have been working on completely revamping the entire system to bring you a new version. Today, before we formally notify the public, I wanted to announce our most important upgrade to date exclusively to you. Now, if you are a former user, you'll actually see little to no cosmetic difference in the interface. This was done so you will feel right at home, but there are numerous improvements that are spread throughout the system, and I will be giving you a tour of Visme and highlighting key features and improvements in our latest version. So I believe this will be a great hour well spent, and I hope that you find this session quite informative. So let's get started. Now, what you see on your screen is a slide that was created in Visme, and it's pretty much the interface of the publishing screen. But what I want to do is today really focus on some of the key features that we've had, and we're going to be doing additional webinars in the future, diving into a lot of these key features that we have been developing. All right, so let's go in terms of the some of the functions that we have released. The first thing I want to do is to go into the actual Visme interface. So as you know, once you log into Visme, you will be able to see all your projects. I'm going to create a new Visme and show you some of the new templates that we have released. So let's go ahead and name this. Now, previously, what you have had in the infographic area would have been no search bar, and you've had just a bunch of different templates hanging in there. But what we've done is we've released a lot of the new templates, and they're actually kind of further down the bottom. You know, previously when we create a presentation or infographic templates, they pretty much were unscientific. We just kind of created them just because they look nice. But our philosophy has completely changed. Now, I'm not going to dive too much as far as how this exactly works, other than to let you know that our templates now are based on two major things: types and actually industry. So the types that we're talking about, for example, would be in, comparisons. timeline processes, and additional types of infographics that are pretty much based on the type of data that you want to create. So you see here, I've clicked on the comparison, and I can see comparison as coming up here. And then also, additionally, what we've done is gone in terms of the aspect of what type of industry are you in, what kind of organization are you. So maybe it's a business-related infographic you want to create. So in that case, we have business-related infographics, right? And if you are a nonprofit, then there would be some nonprofit options to do that. Now, in some of these, you may see a limited number of templates, but there's absolutely no worries because we've got a few hundred of these that are literally created, but we're going to be releasing them little by little over time. So as far as the infographics go, everything has been also search queried. So let's say if I'm looking for something related to cost, then in that case, it will give me the option for that. And as you type it in, it will tell you what you are looking for. So perhaps if I'm looking for something business related, it will tell me there's 109 templates. If I want to do something as far as a blog business comparison chart, then it would give me the result for that one. So that's the way the search parameter on that works. Over time, we're going to be releasing a lot of these other infographics for you. So let's go in as far as some of the key features within the editor itself. So aside from templates go, we are going to be releasing more templates under presentations and additional infographics, and we will be creating additional categories that I can't get into too much today, but you're really going to be able to use Visme as not just an infographic or presentation tool, but this is a great starting point. Let's talk about editing features. Now, one of the other parts, actually, before I go into that, is that if you notice, now we have a blank option. So under presentations or under infographics, you have a blank option. So if you notice here, I could start with a blank instead of creating something that is specifically styled. So this will give you a great leeway to be able to do that. I'm going to dive into one of the projects. This is a slide that I created for this webinar. So I'm going to go inside this project. And let's go to one of the slides here. So let's talk about the text editor itself. In the past, when you use a text editor, if you wanted to apply styles, you had to apply it within the whole block. So if you wanted to change the font, you would have to change the font across the whole text block. You no longer have to do that. So what you can do now is you can actually get pretty granular as far as the styling that you apply, meaning that you can actually apply styles specifically with respect to the content that you're creating, different text fonts to each of the blocks. So let me give an example here. Let me go in and change this font to just the Azov Sans. All right. So now, if you notice here, I have the whole thing as one font. But perhaps I want to manage specific styles. So let's say I want to go in and have the word presentations. If you ever notice, we actually have a color chart where we use specific colors for different aspects. So I can apply a red to this text. I can go into infographics and apply a different color to this. So it allows me to get granular within each text block. I can go in and grab this text element and say, you know what, I want just this text element to have a link. So I can say, all right, I want this to go, let's say, to visme.co, and I wanted to go to that link. If this was a presentation, I could tell it to go to another slide. So you could actually create call to actions within the text itself. And it will automatically give it the hyperlink style. Instead of making it blue in the past, it will give it the color that you've assigned to it. Additionally, within the text blocks itself, what you can do is manage, of course, the size easily. You can make different text elements, different sizes. You can also do is assign the padding around objects. So let me go back here and give you an idea. So let's look at this, create your Visme. I can actually make this into a button, and here's how I can do it. We've released a few different cool options. If you notice that I have this text, and I can go, of course, change the text to some other style. So I'll go in and make it, let's go add a new color and make it almost white. Now, how do I make this into a button? We've released the ability where you can actually control vertical padding, all right? Because you see, this is a 0, so I can add some padding, and I can also do some horizontal padding within that. So I can create some space and some gaps. What I can then do also is to go in and transform the whole thing to uppercase or lowercase if I need to. Of course, in this case, I want to be uppercase. And then I can actually add a border. So I will go ahead and say, you know what, I want a solid border. And I want the color, I'm on a dark background, so I want it to be, let's say, we'll make it blue. Well, actually, let's go make it color white, all right? And then I can give it a thickness. So you see, I can make a little bit of a thickness. I'm gonna be very, very simple in this one. And then I can also give it some roundness. So I can literally apply some roundness to my text right here, all right? And so what I can now do also is go in and give a background color. So I can go click on this. This is a text box. So I can click here, go to my properties, and actually fill the color. So what I just did was I created a really cool button in just a matter of a couple of clicks. And I can change this to whatever I want. So you can create call to actions. Now, the other advantage with Visme is you can create elements. You can easily duplicate them. So I can copy this element, all right? And then I can do is go ahead and maybe make this color into more of an orange. All right, and so I have two call to actions created, and I can click on this and say, you know what, I want this box to be a link. I want this to go to, let's say, visme.co/tour, our tour page. So maybe this is take a tour. And I can also go in and center this so I have a clean feel right within the aspect of it. Okay, there we go. Very simple. So if I was to actually preview the slide, what I have done is, you see, this is a call to action. And if I was to click that, it would actually take me to that link. Now I'm in a preview mode, so naturally it's not going to leave my screen, right? So that's the way that you can actually use a text editor to do various specific items. So you can have full control over the text, granular editing within that, horizontal padding, and also, I forgot to tell you about the line height. So you can actually control line height. All right, very, very easily you can actually manage that. So this way you can have text that's very open and clean and be able to modify that. And additionally speaking, you have these text widgets. Now in the past, we had these text widgets where you had a lot of issues in terms of really, really clean spacing. So let me show you an example. In the past, if you drag and drop one of these, you couldn't, if you typed within this area, you had no control over moving it with respect to that. So what if you type something such as, let's say, today's webinar, right? And it would end up in something like this. But what you can do now is go in here and actually move this, all right? So I can go ahead and position exactly where I want to. And of course, within one click, I can change this color to something else, okay? So that's how you can easily do that. Now, one of the important and one of the biggest complaints that people had about Visme in the past, one of the most requested items was, I need to be able to move multiple objects at the same time. Very, very common need in both presentations and both in infographics. So I may be in a presentation style right now. As you know, in our interface, it's the same thing. It's just that infographics are taller than presentations. So let's talk about if you were in a presentation. What if you wanted to take all these objects and you want to be able to copy them to another slide? So I will go here and let's say I want to create a new slide. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll go ahead and duplicate this slide because I'm going to need the other slide. And I will just go ahead and delete all the content here. So let's go back here and let's say, you know what? I need to be able to use this, these two buttons again. So I will grab my mouse and go around the objects. And I have a little copy here. So if I do a copy, this is for me to duplicate within the area here. But if I want to actually copy it and take it to another slide, I will go ahead and do the copy. Right-clicking, I'm right-clicking, and then I go here and click the paste. And now I've pasted that right here. If you want to do 10 elements, no problem. You can just grab what you want and be able to select those. You can also hold down the Shift key, hold down the Shift and click on other objects, and that way you can select multiple objects. Now, this is very close to what we call as a grouping of objects, but it's not, it's live grouping, meaning that once you deselect, it's now ungrouped, all right? One of the other requests has been is that, you know what, I want to be able to group objects together so I can animate them at the same time. I want to be able to, let's say, grab these, make it one block, and be able to just click on it the next time and it'll still be grouped. Just to let you know that is something we are working on. It is not that far away. So we will be releasing that later on. One of the other big complaints that we had was about selecting objects. So this is how it used to be. If you had an image, let me go grab an actual photo and stick it behind here. Let's see, I'll take this image. This is pretty small. But what would happen is, imagine if this was a large image and if this was behind all the other objects. So in the past, if you clicked on a object, you couldn't select the object behind it. Or if you had the object behind it selected, you could not just go in and click this. You had to go click outside, deselect, come back and select. Again, this is really for you existing users. If you had to use Visme before, is one of the big complaints that we had. As you see, that's no longer the case. Additionally, we have something about hiding. So you can lock objects. So let me right click on this object and I can go ahead and lock it. And by locking the object, I can now easily select this object in front of it, right? So I can go in and select that object without having to worry about that object that's down there, right? So I can now go ahead and move those objects around without affecting the last one. So if you ever have a lot of layers and you keep accidentally, you're trying to select a bunch of items, well, that's okay. Just go and lock that object, and then you can easily move things around in front of it. If you notice, I just clicked the object that is locked. I no longer have to go to my objects list to find that object and then unlock it. No, what I can just do is click on an object and click unlock object right up here. And now that object is unlocked, all right? So it's just a very tiny little thing to give you guys some additional ability to be able to move things around. So let's talk about, additionally, I guess, in terms of infographics, talking about copying, in this case, I showed you how to copy to another slide where you grab this and then you can just copy it. Now, in infographics, a lot of times you keep using objects over and over again. That's okay. Just grab them and just click copy. You duplicate it and just move it down to wherever you want to go. One more thing. We now have the ability to redo and undo. Now, we had undo in the past, right? So let's see here. I'm moving this object down. In this here, you used to be able to undo. But now we have a redo as well, all right? So it allows you to decide between, do I want to do this or do I want to do that? Now you have a number of these. So I can actually go back to a bunch of the actions that I just did, and then I can just go and redo those actions, all right? So this way, and if you notice, it actually moves. Watch this. I move this object, and then I hit undo. It actually traces your movement of what you just did. So you know that you were here, and this is what you did. So it's very cool because this way your mind knows the type of editing you're doing with respect to undoing and redoing objects, okay? So let's go and talk about, let's see, we talked about selecting and moving objects. We talked about the locking. One of the other things I want to talk to you about is the global color palette, all right? Now, as far as our global color palette goes, what we have done is, in the past, if you wanted to edit a text, you will go in and change the color, and then you would have to, you have a color palette here, but then you would go in and go to the object editing, some other places, and then you go to change the color, and you had a different color palette. So what a nightmare, because for people that are in branding and they are commonly utilizing Visme for very brand-specific color coordinations and so on, it's very frustrating. So what we've done now is you can actually go create a color. So let's go and I'm going to clear my own custom color. You can put an RGB value here, or you can just create from millions of colors your own. Okay. And let's see, that's a very ugly blue. Let's go more of a purple. All right. So if I create this color, notice that I just created that color. So what I can now do is I can go in and I will be able to actually use that color and apply it somewhere else. So I can now go in and grab other objects. So let's say if I go to shapes and I'm looking for, I don't know, let's say I need a shape such as this, and I need to be able to put this in this corner. And let's see, I go in, put it in this area, and I need it to be the same color. So all I do is it's a global color palette. So you can create all the colors you want, and they keep coming up here. So now you have the additional color. This color to this to that, they are all matching together, okay? Now, one more thing, our shapes, we have released a few hundred new shapes. They're actually a little bit more health related. Our search algorithm has been improved so that what you can do is you can actually search for objects. So you can actually search for items and it will give you results, but also it will tell you. So as I type in, it will tell me the options where there's going to be actual graphics coming in. So, you know, what I'm doing is, let's say I'm looking at technology. So it tells me there's something for stretching, there's something for technology. So there's the technology icons. Okay. And last but not least, we released this prior to the new version, but it's good to mention. You can actually, when you grab objects, you can manage the color of every element. So you see, I click on this, there's 2 colors. So again, this is where it comes in. I can change the color to the color that I want, and using some global palettes, and there you go. So I can actually fully customize objects with the colors that are available. So again, you have very good clean movements, clean granular ability to be able to manage color formatting. So additional items that I want to talk about is going to be in regards to, let's see, our charts. So let's talk about the chart ability. We have released a bunch of new chart options. So let's go to, let me go ahead and just create a blank. Okay. Let me show you how the charts are now. So in the past, when you created charts, you had less options. We've released a couple new chart types, and 2, you could not do data comparisons. So what you can now do is to have single value charts. So in this case, you see I'm adding values. So let me go ahead and add, let's say, Canada. And I'm going to go ahead and add, let's say, a value of 60 or 40. Now what I can do is I can go to the settings and change every single one of these colors to the one that I want it to be. Okay, you see the color that I had in my palette is following me through everywhere that I go. But perhaps I want to compare data. So I can say, all right, series 2, or let's say it's, you know, financial. And I can go and put a value here, and I can start actually comparing data, just like that. Okay. Now the reason the color changed is because I'm comparing one set of data to another set of data. So it wouldn't make sense for me to have 4 different colors, another one. So what the system does, it's pretty smart. It will actually apply 2 colors, and now you can just go in and change it to whatever you want it to be. Okay. Now I can change this also to another chart. So within one click, I can modify my chart. I can go in and make it a pie chart and make it a donut. This is a new release. I can go into a more of a default pin. I can get a shaded area. Maybe I should do is change the color a little bit. They're very close, right? So let's go ahead and, I don't know, grab an obvious color change. Maybe a red or orange would do. There you go. And I can also go to a pin type format. Now, if you notice, there's a point markers here. Why is that? Sometimes with this type of chart, you might have a lot of data points. And if you do, you're going to end up with a lot of pins, and it gets really ugly. So you can just turn off that. And that way, you get a clean line. So you have that option at a granular level as well. Of course, you can turn off grid, access. You have complete control over all of these. Label color. So let's see, I want to go into a light color label. Why? Because I want to insert this into a very dark background. Well, notice my title here, I don't know if you can see it, is dark. So I'll go back and say, you know what, I need to have a lighter color for my titles as well, because I need it to be cleaner on this background. So now I have put this chart here, and watch this too. I can stretch my chart because I have a lot of real estate. So you see everything opens up. And this way I can present more data. I can go this way, or I can go that way. And anytime I want, I can go in and switch to another type of chart, just like that. Okay? This is how easily you can now translate data from one aspect to another using the Visme chart system. Now, let's talk about a couple more things. Let's see, additional topics that I want to cover today. We are going over, we've got the charts, we talked about the lock objects, so I want to get into our audio engine. This has been requested a lot, and I'm very excited about this feature. So here's how it works. In the past, we had a audio feature when if you clicked it, it would ask you enter a URL to your project. A URL to a video, I'm sorry, to an audio outside of Visme. You couldn't even upload your audio. Well, that's changed. Not only has that changed, but now we have a audio library. And these are exclusive licensing we have so that you're free to use them. Some of these are available free, and some of these, most of these are available at premium. So here's how it works. I can actually listen to the audio. I'm not sure if you can hear that. So I can listen to what I want. And then I can go here and attach it. So I can click on the settings and attach it. So what I just did was I attached this audio to this slide, okay? So I am on this specific slide here right now. And therefore, if I was to preview this, and I have to save my project, let's go to publish. And let's go to the last slide. Oh, that's right. I have to set my, I'm sorry, I have to set my publish settings to allow the animation and an autoplay of that. But your audio is attached and you will be able to detach it here. So I can detach the audio or I can attach it to my slide just like that. Okay. Now, additionally, you have more settings. So what I can do is I can click more settings and then I can come here and to say, you know what, I want it to fade in 3 seconds. I want it to fade out, or I don't want to fade. And so when I listen to the music, then I will be able to also control that. So let's say I want to fade in at, let's say, 4 seconds. And I want it to otherwise start playing after, let's say, 10 seconds. I can also control the volume. Maybe I want the volume to be at 70% because it's just going to be too loud. I can also loop the audio. So if I have an audio playing in the background, I can turn on the loop. And the looping, of course, if you have a very short audio that you upload, because ours are actually pretty long, they're about a minute, minute and a half to 2 minutes each, so they don't end that easily before your slide does. But maybe you have an infographic and you want just to have a continuous play. You turn on the audio loop, and that way it will automatically loop as it starts playing each time. Okay, so that would allow you to be able to actually control that audio. Now, additionally, this is our library, but you can also upload your own. So you can hit add audio, and of course it needs to be an MP3 format. Currently limit is 5, but we're going to increase that. You'll be able to actually select the file, and that MP3 would upload. And then of course what it will happen is it will show in my library here. And then I will be able to go in and attach it to my project. Okay, so that's how you can do that. Now, additionally, what if you want to add audio, but you don't want to add a specific audio in case of presentations or even an infographic? You want to just be background audio. So what you can do is you can go to the publish, and regardless of how many slides you have, you can go to the publish setting and you go to the background music. And what you can do is turn on the background music. And then from here, you will be able to select from the audio. The audios that you upload or record are going to be at the top. The audios that are free, that it is in our system, are going to be here. And so what will happen is this would add the music into the background of your audio. So I'm not sure you'll be able to hear that, but that would play in the background of your audio. One more thing. Now, record audio, this is in an early alpha mode. We are stabilizing this for all different browsers because it's a very big challenge to, as you can understand, to make your microphone work for every single browser. In Chrome and Firefox, we are in pretty good shape. And what this allows you to do is you click record, and you will be able to actually begin recording an audio. And so as you record that audio, what it's doing is telling me I've recorded, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and I'll be able to stop. And what it will do is then actually record that audio. So as you record that audio, what it's doing is telling me I've recorded, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So that was my audio, right? And what I just did was I'm saving this to the library. And so now this audio that I created is in my library. And, oh, I think it's this one, sorry. It goes at the top. So as you record that audio, so there's my audio. What else? So then I can decide and attach it. All right, I can detach it, or it's automatically attached when you save it, but I can attach it to the library in my background. And so what will happen is that, again, I'm not sure you will be able to hear it in the publish or not for me, because this is a webinar, but you will be able to record that. And so the trick is, if some people ask, I want to have background music and I want to have a recording. So you can record and attach that to your slide here, and then you can go to the publish, and you can go here and actually add your background music. And so what will happen is you have background music playing on top of your audio. And that's where you want to get into the controlling the audio settings, right? As far as how loud your audio is and how loud it is not, because you want your voiceover here over the background music. All right, so these are the key features that are in our release, and there's actually one other one before I forget. In the past, when you clicked on any object, so if I clicked on any object here, and if I moved it around, if I clicked on an object, this properties would always show either to the left or to the right, depending on your browser. You'd probably notice that this has changed. Now, this has changed only if you move your properties box around. So what happens is, as you click and you move your object, it kind of moves to the side. It kind of hovers around to an area that you designated it, so it doesn't get in the way every time. You see that? I just clicked on that and it's there. So this is a way for, it's almost like a pinning your properties, you know? So maybe it gets in the way a lot, so you can do is you move it around to a corner. So that way in the future, it will be around that corner, okay? That way it doesn't move, it doesn't hover over your content. So that covers the majority of the features, and there's, again, tons of little tiny items that are, you know, too meticulous to go over, but a lot of resolutions, a lot of bugs have been resolved in the system, and we continue to heavily improve Visme for you guys. So let's see if there's any questions. Back to you, Randy.
Great, Payman. Let me ask you a couple questions. Question about the global.
I have a hard time hearing you, Randy.
Sorry, can you hear me all right?
A little bit quiet. I'm not sure if everybody else can as well or not.
I can try and adjust that real quick.
So while Randy is doing that, Randy, let me know when you're ready.
Let's try that. Is that better?
There we go. Much better. We got you back. There you go.
Okay. On the global color palette, especially you mentioned, you know, companies will have their brand colors and their specific color palette they want to use. Can you predefine that where it crosses projects, or is that defined just within one project?
Very good question. At the moment, it is across one project, but we actually are working on a couple things. Just, again, I can't shed too much light on it. We are doing it so that not only your assets, but even your colors will be coming across different projects. So that is certainly on the agenda, but at this very, very moment, it is project specific. Now,
okay.
Though, you can actually duplicate a project. So if you create a project that is along the lines of the colors and feel, and you create infographics, and you're going to create more infographics similar to that, then you can, from your dashboard, duplicate that project, and all the properties in that project will be maintained.
Including all the colors.
Yes.
All right, similar question for if you do your own library of recorded audio. So is that a universal library if you upload audio files?
Very good question. We are going to be releasing a what we call as a media manager. And a lot of the enterprise clients, big companies, have asked for that. And of course, everybody else can benefit from it too. So that if you have images, this is right now, what you have is in My Images area. And the images will be shared amongst the different projects that you have. In the past, every time you created a project, you would go into your My Images and it would be missing the last images from the last project. So now it's all combined to one place. So what happens is this place is getting, as you can see, it's getting pretty cluttered. So we're going to release a really cool media manager. And not only is it going to allow you to access from across all projects your images, not only will it allow you to even replace images from between all projects from one place, but it will also hold your other media types as well, including your audio. And of course, in certain client types such as enterprise, they can also upload their own videos into the system instead of just adding a URL. And so they will be able to manage all those assets from one location across all the projects.
And yeah, we had another question about, can you define folders in your My Images section over there? And it sounds like that's going to be part of the media manager.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So we're very excited about that. Think of it as the way your dashboard is, where you have folders and you have ability to drag items into different places. You're going to be able to do the same thing. You'll be able to actually, additionally, not only will you be able to set that, but you'll be able to tag items too. So you can assign labels to your objects. So you may organize them in one place, but you can label them so you can more easily search for them later on. It's going to be really neat.
Okay. The presentations, if you add audio to them and then publish them, is that still a presentation or does it publish as a video?
Very good question. So when you create Vismes within Visme, That's actually rhymes. So what will happen is it's in HTML5 format. It's a native HTML5 format. So wherever you present it with this link, anybody that go into it will be able to see it the same way that you published it. Now for download, if you download it, if you wanted to maintain audio and any of the interactivity, you would have to do the HTML5 format, because none of these other formats will preserve anything, including links or other components, because they're static. But HTML would even include your animations, which we're going to do a webinar about interactivity down the road, which I know everybody will love. So it doesn't convert to a video. You can embed videos to Visme. You can even import PowerPoints to Visme. You can embed, and I guess I forgot to mention about this. This is a separate subject as well. You can actually add iframes from third parties, surveys, or Google Maps, anything you want that has a embed code. You can come here and you can actually embed it to a Visme. But the publishing part of it, Visme is a native HTML5 format, meaning that it will open on any browser. It is not a video format. All those assets that's contained in it will play.
And then, so the audio that you attach to a specific slide would only play when you get to that slide of the presentation, or if you have background audio, it would play during the entire presentation.
That is correct. So from here, when you add publish settings background, it is for all your slides. Now, if it's an infographic, it's a single slide, so it will naturally play there. But if you want to assign it to a very specific slide, again, this is really more for presentations. You probably want to do is you want to use, I'm sorry, not this one. You want to use this area here to attach the audio to that slide. You can, because you can add different audio to different slides. So let's say you are doing a tour of a certain product, and each slide is about a certain feature. So, well, in that case, you can have different recordings and attach those to different slides, while you can also add a background if you want to, background audio.
Excellent. All right, question about the text boxes that you were turning into buttons. What are the different activities, or I guess actions, that you can assign to that? You showed how you can go to a website, but I think you can also go to other slides and other places as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let me do the same thing with even, let's just say you could, let me go to another object here. Let's just take a people, all right? All right, so let's do this. So this object here, because I'm a designer, I have to actually style it before I do anything. Okay. You can make any object into a link. So what I'm going to show you is the same for this and anything else. See in here, and an object, I can click link, and I can link it to wherever I want. And the same thing is here. So if I click here on a text, I need to do the linking from this area if I'm just trying to like do a very specific text. But really, if you're trying to do a button, what you do is you always go to the link property. So I go here. So what I can do is I can get it to go to a URL. And also I can set my window, so I can say, okay, when somebody clicks on this, when you publish it, open this in a new window or leave that. But you can also do is to set this to none or empty that. And I will talk about this slide first. So I can say, okay, you know what, go to slide such and such. And again, this is reflecting the name of your slides here, right? So what I can do is I can say, all right, go to the slide 2 or go to the slide 3. So then on click, it will go to that slide. So this is how you can do links within slides to other slides. Or what you can do is do a pop-up layer. Now this one, I'm gonna do a separate tutorial for this about hotspots. In fact, on our YouTube channel, you can look for how to create hotspots, and you will be able to see an animation on how to do that. I don't have enough time to show you that today, but long story short, you will be able to actually tell this object to on rollover show another layer. That's how you can do rollover effects. But as I mentioned, if you go to YouTube, you will be able to search for Visme, how to create hotspots, HOTSPOTS, and you will be able to see a tutorial on that.
Good. We got one question, Payman, about someone new to Visme wants to know, how do you create a table within a slide?
That's a fantastic question. You know why? Because we are literally in the middle of development of creating the ability for you to do tables instead of you having to copy stuff from elsewhere. First of all, at the moment, you can create data in the forms of charts. Now, this is actually taking a step back for us to want to create, and Randy, you are an expert in data visualization. Why would people want to create tables anymore? They should be creating infographics. Well, some people still want to create tables. That's no problem, but they can combine it. So currently, you can actually, from Excel, you can copy paste cells and come and paste it here, but this will give you a chart. We are creating a table widget, so you will be able to create a table right inside Visme without having to, go to another program. At the moment, of course, the way you would have to do that is maybe convert from Excel, create an image, save it as an image, and then bring that item in here. Or you can do is you can go to some third-party table creators and then embed your table as an iframe. If they give you an embeddable code and put it in here, there's some free table tools out there. But I just want you to know that that's one of the other modules that we are in the middle of development and very excited about, because when we release that, you will be able to also create tables and be able to create additional chart types as well.
Excellent. And you just showed inserting an iframe. So a question would be, can you put interactive code in that iframe, like a poll or something that the user could respond to?
Yes, you can. So you're not going to be coding in here. All you're going to do is paste. So I'm just going to show you an example. Let's just show. I don't have a link to a poll, but I just in a moment, it's the same way. So let's say, I had a Google map. I know it's not a poll, but it works the same way. You create a poll in some third-party system. They will give you share or embed. So I go and take this embed code. There it is. I copy this. And what I will do is come inside Visme. Let's see, okay. I'm going to paste this here. And so what I will do is now I got a map. And this map is interactive. I'll show you in just a second. Now watch this. Why would you want to do that? See, this is where the beauty of Visme comes into place. I can arrange and then send this to the back. All right. And I have my map laid out over that. So you can actually put hotspots. Like I can make this into a button, right? And then have this like maybe on click. Maybe you're in a real estate and you're selling homes and you want to be able to like, tell people to on click be able to go to that specific property. We have users that do that. And then these actions are viewable. So let me just go in here to preview. And you see the map is functional. There's my music. Took a little delay. So there is the ability for me to be able to actually interact with that. So I can zoom in, zoom out, and I can even click on the link. All right. And the music that you just saw, that was your audio that I had attached, but it's just there's usually a tiny bit of a delay, which we're looking to resolve, where when you add your audio, it may take about 20, 30 seconds before it actually displays on your audio the very first time. But this is the same way. If you had a survey, people will be able to fill it out and actually submit that.
All right. Completely different question. We have a question about other languages that Visme supports. So does Visme support other languages like Arabic?
So it does. Yeah, you're not going to be able to go in and just, well, yes, you can. Let me just show you very quickly how that can be done. Just get rid of this window. Okay. So I'm going to go to Google Translate. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just put some text here. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and convert this to, let's say, Arabic. Now, again, what I'm showing is because you can actually take copy from in Arabic or other languages and then come in here. Let's see, go in, add the text, and you should be able to copy paste that, or at least the last time I did, because I know you see, so we support different languages. So you can actually do now is, and go ahead and style it. Okay, so there you go. That's how you can do, and it could be Chinese, it could be Hebrew, anything. You'll be able to do that, and so you can then type that in.
Excellent. Okay. How do you set timing between the slides in a presentation that's on the web?
Great question. Here's how you do it. You can go to this little icon here. It's a setting, and this is where you have the options for your slides. Hide it, but you want to go to transition. And in transition, you can set the effect, such as flip, scroll, and so on, the type of effect between the transition between the slides. And you can set it where, okay, when people click anywhere on a slide, go to the next slide, or I want to set a timing. I want this slide after maybe 10 seconds, go to the next one. The other one is if you actually have a video and you want when the video is done, when it finishes playing, this will be if your video is automatically playing, then you can set that too. You can additionally say, you could do it one by one for every slide, or you could just set your setting and say apply to all slides. And then, of course, in that case, you are applying that transition for all of your slides.
Excellent. Okay. I'm not sure I understand this question, so I'm going to read it to you, Payman, and let you see if you understand it. So the question is, I am interested in creating a presentation that can serve as a Google Drive. I know you can link to Google from icons, but just wondering if there are also other options.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Maybe from what I probably understand is if the individual wants to be able to, if you're talking about being able to link images from Google Drive into Visme, we are not connected to Google Drive yet. If you're talking about being able to upload your presentation and put it on somewhere else, well, you can download it as any of the formats under the publish download options, and you'll be able to then go ahead and upload it back to wwherever you like to do that.
Yeah, like a PDF.
Answering the question fully, but I hope that I answered part of it at least.
Okay. Someone also new to Visme, can we do any animation video?
So you can do animations in Visme, but the end product is going to be not a video, but a Visme. So one of the confusions people have is that just because you do animations doesn't mean that it has to be a video. So as an example, I'm just going to go ahead and just apply animation. I click on object, move this from the left, and let's say move this object from the right at 1 second, and move this object from the left also, let's say, at, let's see, the same second as 1 second. So what I just did was I created an animation, and if I go and preview this, so I just created that animation in just a second, right? So it looks just like a video, but it's not a video that you upload on YouTube, all right? Visme is where it's its own platform. You take this link and you could send it anywhere. You could also embed it to your own website. So if you want to create a Visme and it's an animation, you just go and embed it to your own website. It will be seamlessly integrated there. And if you want to present offline, you go and download as an HTML5 format.
What about putting a video in a slide? Can you embed from YouTube?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yes, you can. So let me just show you. Here's how you do it. Let's go add a new video. Let me go and grab a URL to a video. Just one moment. Okay, let's just get it off a separate screen. So let me just get on there. One moment. Okay, so what I do is I come in, paste a URL. It's actually a music, but it's gonna, at least it'll show you it's a video. So I will paste that, done. And now this video, I can make it as big as I want. Let me zoom out here. So you can actually make the audio. What I did was I copied a URL from YouTube. You could do it also from Vimeo as well. So I'm gonna make it as big as I want, and I'm going to send it backward, and actually send it all the way back so it's sitting behind all my objects. So let's see, arrange, send to back. You see that? So now I will be able to preview that. Actually, what I just thought I got is not a video, but it is in essence, it is going to be let's see, there you go. So I can actually click that video and the video will play. See that?
Yep.
So that's the way it works. Let me go ahead and disconnect this audio because you guys are probably tired of hearing that audio. But that's the way you will be able to do that. So you can add videos easily.
While you're there showing the library for audio, is there a way to change the name of any recordings you create?
Let me see. I think you can. Yes, you double click. Good question. I almost forgot we have that. So yes, I can record during webinar. So there you go. I just renamed it.
Excellent. Another question, if you have multiple projects, and I think I'm interpreting this right, multiple projects in Visme, is there a way to download or export all of them, or do you have to do them one at a time?
Yeah, it would have to be one at a time. If different projects. Now, if you have multiple slides within Visme, even if your infographic has more than one slide, like you see this has multiple slides, if I was to go and publish it, download it as, let's say, image or PNG, for every slide it will give me one image. PDF, every slide becomes a page. But on the dashboard where all your projects reside, no, you will not be able to download all those projects at the same time. We've never actually had anybody ask for that. That's a pretty interesting request.
I think I understood the question, but yeah. The infographic templates that we talked about early on, is there a way to resize those to fit on standard letter 8.5 by 11 size paper?
Good question. You know, that is something that we are working on, in that the way it works right now is when you download it, everything is set up as let's see, let's go back. It's about an 800 pixel wide And so when you do it and download as a PDF, it will actually give it to you as a full screen PDF. I can't recall what the conversion of that is, but it's pretty close. But remember though, a lot of times infographics are taller. Infographics are sometimes 2,000 pixels, or I don't know, 15 inches or 22 inches if you want to convert that. So they end up being multi-page. But we are working on a published setting so that it will tell you that it can give you for download an option where it can size it or tell you it's going to be multi-page. But also remember that when you have PDF, in PDF, Adobe Acrobat, you have some settings as well where you can size things down or up if you want to print it, and if it's for the sake of printing. But with Visme right now, you can't size something to be exactly 8.5 by 11 because they're typically taller. So if you take a look here, you see this infographic has got a different size. You can actually see at the bottom, they're different heights. So how would that fit on an 8.5 by 11? So that's one of the things to consider.
And I would add, like if you started with the blank template, is there a way to just change that blank canvas to be 8.5 by 11?
Yes. Good question. Yes. So let's go ahead and just take a look at this. All right. If I go here, canvas size, this is where I can set the width and the height. So here's a tip. I mean, by default, 72 pixels is 1 inch. So you take, 8.5 by 11, 8.5 times 72. You put that width here, 8.5 times 11. Then that goes 11 inches tall by 72. You put that here. So that will give you the width and the height for 8.5 by 11 if you want to be exact.
Yeah, you could create the aspect ratio and just do 850 pixels by 1100 pixels, and that would be 8.5 by 11.
There you go. Exactly. So that would allow you to do that as well. So but we are going to be simplifying that further, just so everybody knows. You'll be able to go in and just like you say, a custom size here, you'll be able to just say from a print size, be able to select your print size.
If you did that on one of the templates, I'm assuming some of the template that would go beyond it would just show beyond your page.
Correct. It would go beyond to an additional page. Exactly.
Right.
And actually, before I forget, there's some new feature that I forgot to mention. Well, I mean, we've taken it back, we added it. It's never been easier to resize an infographic. You don't even have to go to here. So as you create content, naturally, maybe your infographic needs to be shorter. So what you do is, or needs to be taller. You just grab this down, and I just added some height to my infographic.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's very, very simple to be able to just size things down. I'm glad that I opened this template so you can see that feature. So you don't have to worry about this part here unless you're really trying to deal with print and very specific things. Just use this.
And I've got one final question, it looks like, and it's very specific about can you connect to OneNote files within a slide?
That's a good question. I would suggest to send us a ticket on, I would have to discuss it with the team. Can't recall anybody ever asking about that. If you send us a ticket at support.visme.co, http://support.visme.co, you will be and ask us, and somebody will be able to get back to you and see if there is a way or if it's something that we would be able to add into our development chain.
Yeah, I would follow up on that. You said a lot of these new features were based on requests from users. Is that email or logging a ticket, is that the best way for people to ask for features in the future?
Absolutely. So if we go to support.visme.co, a lot of the common questions are answered here, such as if I want to be able to download HTML, so it will give you some tips on that, topics that you want to get answers on. Or you can go down here, there's suggestions that you can make, or you can actually just contact us and send a ticket here, okay? And we'll be able to, view and so on. We do get a lot of requests, but we try to do everything we can to address all items. And let me put it this way, all these features are the result of user requests. There's many more things that people have asked for, and naturally speaking, we have to have the best interests of all our users in mind. So a feature has to benefit everybody else as well, or at least some of them. So rest assured that we listen to what you need, and we address things in what makes most sense for most of our users. And before we end here, I just wanted to give the discount code. For those of you that are not Visme Premium users yet, here's the discount code. I'm going to use Visme to show you the discount code. So the code, all right, is Visme16, and this will give you, there you go, this will give you 25%. So I can use one of our widgets. give you 25% off our premium accounts. All right, so you sign up for a free account right here on visme.co, and at checkout, you can use the code for the discount, Visme16.
Excellent. And Payman, I think we got about 1 minute left, and I had one new question that popped up here in the last minute. Is on a slide, can you select multiple objects and apply the same animation to all of them at the same time?
Can you have, select multiple objects and apply the animation to all of them at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, great question. So this will come into our grouping, all right? This is a feature we're going to be releasing. At the moment, you do one at a time. But in the future, you'll be able to group those objects. So there will be a grouping here next to the copy. And then you will be able to go and apply a animation, and all those objects will be animated at the same time. We're not too far away from that, just in the next couple of months.
All right, Payman. I think that wraps us up, and we are good to go.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you, everybody, for the time. Randy, as always, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. And as a reminder to everybody, we are going to try to post this video in the next couple days on the Visme Learning Center blog.
Thanks, everybody.